bloggers, or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Welcome to Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. Today's date is March 26th, the year of our Lord 2024. And we're here with Jeremy. Jeremy, just hit where it says 2 there, Jeremy. Jeremy, we're checking out, no, right there, Jeremy, hit that. And then go down on the left. Yeah, so go on the other side where we're just checking out everything here. And we're streaming good. So anyway, my name is Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm board certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. And this is Jeremy. Jeremy, say hello. Jeremy is our technical advisor.
Everybody. What's going on?
Jeremy's, we got to get Jeremy new glasses. He can't see the controls. He's having a hard time.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are a medical, political podcast. We try to stick to the medical stuff well, we do and we don't. Anyway, we've been doing this for, I don't know how many, 3-4 years,
We are
right?
a mixed bag, like we like
so
to say.
we're transmitting here from beautiful, beautiful Toms River, New Jersey, and we're on all the platforms, YouTube. Go to YouTube if you will, and subscribe and get the like button. We're on Rumble, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. So we're there. If you want to get a hold of us, there's right on here. Oh, we're actually on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Here, if you want to get a hold of us, we have a webpage, JerseyShoreFootAndLegCenter.com. That's JerseyShoreFootAndLegCenter.com. I am a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. You want to send us an email, it's drkachmar@icloud.com. That's drkachmar@icloud.com. So let's just get into it, Jeremy. Let's just talk about something that happened today. We've been looking at the news, and this is the ship, a cargo ship, container ship, that hit the bridge. Francis Drake, what was it?
Francis Scott Key
Bridge.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know who was Scott.
Francis Scott was
Key.
An explorer, wasn't
No, he was. Oh God, Jeremy, you're
Francis Scott. Yeah.
No. I think didn't he write the Star Spangled Banner? You know,
what,
he was.
Did he? In what key?
In what key? All right. All right. Why don't you look it up on your phone? But anyway.
Francis Scott. Who am I thinking of then?
I don't know who you're thinking of. You're thinking about Francis Drake. He was down in the Caribbean.
Francis Drake. Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
So he,
Sorry.
our Star Spangled Banner and all
Wrong
that.
Francis.
That was during the War of 1812. And he when they hit they bombed the fort. Anyway, so I just want to talk about the ship real quick. Nobody knows what went on. Of course, we're pundits, so we don't have no friggin' idea what went on. But here's the thing.
Did you see it collapse?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, that just blew my mind. You heard me. You heard me when I saw it for the first time.
Here's the thing. That's a big ship. That's a big ship, and there's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of force behind that. There's a lot of weight.
It was a container ship.
Oh, that thing is huge. That thing is, it's huge. But here's the thing about those ships, which is interesting. They all have backup generators. So in a ship, a lot of these ships, they don't have direct shafts. Now, I don't know about this one, but a lot of them have pods. They're propellers. They're electric motors. They might have 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, 2 of them. And then you have generators that generate the electricity for these motors. Now, usually, like I know on a cruise ship, they have 3 of them. And usually, one is going, maybe 2, and they modify them. But when you're going into a tight space like that, everything's cranking. All your generators are on. All the crew are at high alert. They had 2 pilots on there, so that's local captains who know the area real well.
Yeah.
And so to have something like this happen where it's catastrophic, where they lost complete control, is amazing to me. They said the lights did blink. I don't know whether or not that matters, but I'd be highly suspicious right now. I'd like to see, they need an investigation.
The bridge lights were blinking.
No, the ship's lights.
The ship's lights were. The bridge isn't going to dodge it.
No, they're not. But the bridge, it was the vessel itself. But my point is, there's a lot of redundancy there. So I'd be
there's like what do you call it? Defaults on top of defaults.
Right. So I would be very
backups on top of backups.
Right. I'd be very concerned about what went on there. I'd like to see an investigation, but
because it wasn't just like it clipped it or anything like that. That was dead on.
Well, what happened is if it looks to me like the ship's going and they lost steerage. They might have steerage. Now, the boat you can't just stop a ship, put the brakes on. There's no brakes. If a ship's going 22 knots, they weren't going that fast there. I doubt it. But like out in the ocean, they're going 22 knots. That's pretty fast. It takes about a mile to stop that vessel, even if you put it in reverse.
Right.
Because you have the momentum. It's moving. You see what I'm saying? Right. It's not like you have brakes and it just stops. It's going to go a mile before it stops. Yeah. It'll start slowing down. But no, and you got currents and all of that. So, again, it most likely is going to turn out to be some kind of mechanical error that these guys could not compensate quick enough for. I mean, it happens. Planes crash all the time. Good pilots. So it may not have been anything. But again, they had a lot of redundancies, and you wonder. Thank God it didn't happen during the day when that thing was filled with traffic.
Yeah. No, as far as we know right now, there were 8 construction workers on the bridge.
Oh, really?
Okay, but 6 of them are missing right now.
Oh, nobody in the cars, but there's cars missing
no,
too.
yeah. Well, there's cars in the water, and
Maybe
like
people got
sonar or whatever has detected them.
Yeah.
As far as their passengers, we don't know.
Yeah.
So there's 6 construction workers missing, and who knows how many are missing or dead.
Well, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna change the subject now. We're gonna, our prayers and hope everything works out for the people. We'll see what's going on there. They'll deal with that. Yeah. So let's go. We are in New Jersey, so we're gonna talk about New Jersey. Again, we're back to the old COVID and the governor. So there's another study that just came out. Now, when I say another, they had a study in 2022. Governor Murphy had a study, commissioned a study. He did. It cost $500 million. And it was a company that, I'll tell you that we'll get to the company later on. I believe they were some kind of affiliate, they were Barack Obama friends or whatever, So $500 million. And they came out and basically, I don't, the way I read it, they kind of blamed the nursing homes. They weren't prepared. We had some of the highest deaths in the country, especially nursing home deaths. Okay, I just want to premise it. So now there's another study, okay, and I'll read you the headline here. This is from NewJersey.com. After harsh COVID report, Murphy orders New Jersey to prepare for further emergencies. Okay, you can pull it up here. So now, following a pledge to learn from our mistakes, after a harsh report detailed New Jersey's failures during the COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Phil Murphy took steps late Friday. He said, "We'll make sure the state is better prepared for any future public health emergencies." You know what'd be a good way to prepare for that? Get rid of him. Get another governor. I just want to say that. Yeah. Murphy signed an executive order creating a task force charged with evaluating recommendations from the 910-page reports which found the state fell short in dealing with the crisis. Now, this is in addition, okay, to the $500 million a year ago that he did also a commission on. Why do we need another report? That's another thing. It's interesting. Yeah. Another $9 million, and we're gonna have another report after that. I guarantee you. I could have gave them the report, and I'm going to give a report at the end here for free. Okay. Okay. This is quote.
I bet all you at home didn't expect you were going to get something here.
No, you didn't get something. Yeah. So I just want. So this is a quote. At the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, we were forced to act quickly to safeguard our residents and stop the spread of virus responsible for tremendous loss of life across the nation. Murphy said in a statement, "With today's executive order, we will take decisive action to address gaps in preparedness and set further administrations up for success in combating crisis," unquote. And he's going to, have all these people, blah, 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 blah. And here he goes. COVID pandemic presented unforeseen challenges as state New Jersey and the rest of the world battled an international health crisis like no other in more than 100 years. Okay, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay,
Our biggest
so
takeaway is that you can never be too. Oh, what?
right, well, you never can be too prepared. The report, prepared by a team of lawyers and consults hired by Murphy's administration, right?
They needed to write a report just to
Right,
find out. It's
Or-
always
or-
good to be
or-
prepared.
Wait a minute. Offered 33 recommendations after analyzing the state's actions during the pandemic, right? And which killed tens of thousands. It goes on and on here. But what's interesting about this is that it says here, the report cited a 2015 pandemic flu plan compiled by the Chris Christie administration, but top officials don't know it exists when COVID struck in March 2022. So this report, so I just want to make a point here. So this report here is, this is dated March 24th, 2024. Yeah. Okay, this is today, okay, or 2 days ago. Today's the 26th. Yeah. Now, go back to me for a minute. I want to make a point. Yeah. When the pandemic hit here, right, in New Jersey, President of the United States was Donald Trump. Okay? Donald Trump, yeah, he wrote the Star Spangled. Donald Trump did this, Jeremy. He put a ship up in the Hudson River. It was a medical, it was an Army, a Navy hospital, a large one. Okay? Yeah. And he also commissioned the Army to open up, I think it was Brendan Byrne Arena in New York City. They had hundreds of hospital beds. Those two entities were never used. And I come back and say, why didn't we send these nursing home patients, after they were in the hospital, instead of sending them back to the nursing home to spread the illness, why didn't we send them to that ship or the facility in the Javits Center? That's where it was, the Javits Center.
The Javits Center, or that boat that was supposed to
hardly
make
everybody
feel at ease, and
but nobody
didn't
used
use it. Yeah.
Now, why didn't they use it? That's one thing I'd like to know.
That's one thing I'd like to know.
I didn't look at the report, and somebody could on the internet here tell me, why didn't they do that? I was in their hospital. We were bitch, moaning, and groaning. They were mandated. The Department of Health in New Jersey mandated that the hospitals send these patients back to the nursing home, and the nursing homes were mandated to take the patients. What I want to make a point, he's having an executive order. One of the things you could fix this, the governor, which is the executive branch in New Jersey, and the country by that matter, and any state, declares a state of emergency, either medical emergency or general emergency. They have increased powers. They become basically a dictator. Democracy is kind of thrown to the wayside. They make the decision, and that's it. The legislators don't get involved. Right? So the judicial doesn't get involved. The legislators don't get involved. This is the executive branch. Underneath him is the Board of Health. They do what they want to do. They did what they want to do. They mandated what you could do. They told us what we could prescribe, what we can't prescribe, what we can't use ivermectin, can't use any of that. Yeah. Okay. So this is what they did. Now, what I say going forward, how about doing this? How about we get some legislation where if we have another big emergency, maybe the powers of the governor are not absolute. That if they're going to pass these sweeping, policies of, say, not putting the people in the ship up there or send them to the nursing home, or that the legislative branch gets involved and the judicial branch gets involved. That's the whole idea of having three branches of government, checks and balances. Now, I don't know why okay. Now, I want to make, so I'm going to do, so here, I want to do this here. Now, go to this one. So I'm not making this up. Here's a New Jersey Monitor. It's a news, a rag, news rag, whatever you want to call it. And Governor Murphy announces long-awaited review of state's COVID-19 response. This is dated November 28th, 2022. Okay? Yeah. I want to go. Outside review of the state's response to the pandemic is set to begin more than 30 months after the pandemic began ravaging New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy announced Monday. The Philadelphia-based firm, Montgomery, McCracken, Walker, and Rhodes, will lead the review and release the report late in 2023, the governor said. The team will be led by whoever else. Now, I'm going on and on. I'm just going to go back here. And, so keep going here, keep going here. I'm just going to go down here. I just want to make a point here. This is Magnet Health study cost taxpayers $500 million, 500,000. 500,000. The governor's office, I thought it was 500 million.
Do you see up here? If they do a deep dive, nope.
I'm sorry,
Nope,
here,
put
get
it up. If they do a deep dive on nursing homes and don't put anything on Murphy's team, that's a far different story than here's everything so you have the full ability to understand what went right and what went wrong. Those are two entirely different concepts, said this Shapishi.
Yeah. The thing is,
so he's Murphy's still trying to, so the reason why he's spearheading this is to pretty much guide away from his mistakes.
Well,
and
listen.
Toward his,
You're right.
and
So
toward his,
now,
that's,
this report here. This is the second outside review of the state's pandemic response in 2022. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So there's three now. This is Magnet Health investigation, high death toll in the state's nursing homes. So this might have been the second one. So this is the first one. This is the second one, I'm sorry. In 2022, Matt Health investigated the high death tolls in the state nursing homes. The consulting 100-page report determined that long-term care facilities were understaffed and not equipped for the pandemic. And that study cost, I'm sorry, I do it was 500 million. It was 500,000. So $500,000 for that. Now, this other study that he has.
I could have done it for like a quarter of the price, man.
Hang on, let me just see here. So I just want to go here. And not this one here. So you show this one here.
People in masks. They must be Democrats.
So this one here is this. It doesn't say following a pledge to learn more. So evaluating the recommendation from it. Let me see this report here. Who did this? If this is the same one. So this is the $9 million report now, and it's not coming up who did it. So that's another one. So anyway, you could go back to me, Jeremy. So go back to me. So what you have, Jeremy, is it goes on and on and on and on, and they have these reports. The bottom line is a lot of people died, with this COVID. Now let's go back to the video again. Go back to my video. So here's another one. This is. Where's this article out of? So this is Trenton. Demands for answers in New Jersey. COVID numbers don't add up. So a state lawmaker is calling for answers after an independent investigation into the state's handling of the COVID pandemic count more deaths than the state previously reported. A report released this month by a firm hired by the state at a cost of $9 million faulted the state and the nation for the lack of preparedness for the pandemic. And here it says, the report noted that more than 16,000 residents and many staff members at long-term care facilities died from the virus. But the number is far higher than the 9,221 deaths that the State Department of Health has said died in nursing homes. So there's a conflict there, okay? I'm not going to argue what the number is, but it was one of the highest that we've had, and... This was.
So is that like is that like you get a house fire and then you kind of doctor up the paperwork so the insurance company thinks more damage was done than there was? Well, is that kind of what they're doing?
Say it again. What are they doing?
I mean, you know how you've heard people trying to make like an insurance scam, like your house burns down, but you say that like, oh, I had like a $70,000 bracelet and that just melted away in the fire,
No. What this is no.
Are they trying to like?
Everybody, listen. The governor and the state of New Jersey and the health department don't want to take the blame.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What they're trying to do is blame, or say, well, the nursing home. So here, this right here. This is interesting. It says we were very clear that the facilities could only readmit residents if they could separate them from other residents, maintaining proper infection control, and had sufficient PPE and staffing. But most importantly, they needed to tell us if they could not meet the requirements. That year, Governor Murphy blamed nursing homes for the deaths, saying that they failed to follow procedures to keep residents and staff safe. 2 years into the pandemic, the state deployed the National Guard to assist nursing homes. So, here it goes. And here's the towns had, these towns had the highest, we don't want to talk about that. Okay, go back to me, Jeremy, I'm sorry. You got it?
Yep.
All right, so let's just, so here's the deal about all of that. They're blaming the nursing homes. They had a mandate. So now, remember, we have the pandemic. The governor...
Now, just for our listeners with these nursing homes, if we remember, I just want to refresh this. Yeah. These senior citizens were relocated out and then forced to go back in.
They were sick. They got COVID in the nursing home.
Tell that.
Okay, so what happened? How it worked is these people got sick in the nursing home.
Yeah.
They were admitted to the hospital. Now they got it treated, and they started to get better. They weren't, that good. But you needed the beds. You needed to get them out.
Right. Yeah.
So you sent dear old mom or dear old dad back to the nursing home. Get them out of the hospital. They're stable enough. But the nursing homes were mandated to take them, and the hospitals were mandated to send them. Now, the Murphy now and the Department of Health are saying, well, whoa. We told them don't take them if they can't handle them. So, I wasn't there to talk to the nursing home people, but what gets me is I would have sent them up to that ship up in the Hudson, that the good ship Hope, or the Javits Center. I hear that place was empty. Nobody used it. New York didn't use it either.
The Javits.
Yeah, Cuomo. Now, did they want?
And they put a kibosh on conventions and everything.
No, but my thing is, I don't know why they didn't do that, and that's really, to me. I don't know what's in these guys' hearts, why they didn't send it up there. There was a lot of politics going on. There was a lot of
so were these just things that were put into place and then spoken about on the news merely to placate the audience and then never really put into practice?
What do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, like where everybody's panicking, okay? Bodies are stacking up at funeral homes like Cordwood, and then you've got they're trying to, make the people at home feel more relieved about everything. So they say, okay, well, we're bringing in this big giant ship, and we're going to bring everything there, and then we've got this set up, and we've got that set up, and then somewhere between setting it all up and actually using it, I think it was all said to just placate the audiences.
No.
Then why not use them?
Well, first of all, that's a good question. First of all,
What's the reason?
Wait, stop for a second. You got the ship and the Javits Center, that was federal. That was the military.
Yeah.
That was Trump. Remember the politics. Murphy was slamming, bashing Trump. So was Cuomo.
Sure.
There was a political rivalry. They're Democratic, governors. Trump the Republican. Trump put those ships there. They were Trump. They were federal ships. They were Navy and Army. Okay? All right? It was up to the state of New Jersey and the state of, and New York to put those people in those facilities if they wanted. They chose not to do it. The way I understand it, they chose. Now, I don't know why they didn't do it, but they sent them back to the nursing homes. Maybe they thought that was the best thing. Now, I guess, but what they're saying is after these reports that it was the nursing homes' fault. The nursing homes shouldn't have accepted them. I was working in the hospital. I remember this. I remember the hospital saying, we have no choice. We got to send these people back.
This was heavy on your mind during that time.
Well, I watched these people die. Yeah. We had this, the VA had thousands and thousands of these people died, Jeremy. Mm. I mean, it's just, to me, it didn't make good sense. Why send people back who are still sick to the hospital? I understand. Remember, they said, we got to clear the beds because younger people are going to die. I understood that. So, but instead of sending them to nursing home, there's no way to nursing home. Nursing homes, the people who work in the nursing homes were getting COVID and dying or couldn't take care of them. Yeah. You had Army ships out there. You know, you had, I mean, I don't know why they didn't put them in ambulance and send them up there. Okay, that's number one. Maybe somebody's going to get on the internet here and tell me why. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Okay. Now, number two, they not only did mandate that, they mandated that you can't go into the hospital and see your loved one. You can't hold their hands while they die.
Yeah.
Why not?
They died alone.
Why not? So you could sign a piece of paper. Hey, I'll go in. Or if you had corona already, I'm immune. I don't give a shit. I want to go in. I'll wear a mask. You know, you had to sit outside and watch your loved ones die. So many nurses had to hold the hands of these people. You couldn't go to a funeral. To me, that was excessive, unnecessary.
You hope somebody was holding their
Okay,
hand.
but here's the thing. Whether or not it was right or wrong,
Yeah.
you can't. The governor of all of these states, wherever they did this, all of them, have tremendous power when there's a state of emergency. I'm just making it. You talk about dictatorship. You know, Trump's a dictator. Well, these guys they declared emergencies.
So Trump.
If you declare emergency, don't you understand? You have 5 times the power. Democracy goes out the tube. You make the law, and that's it. You say this is it, and this is it. Now there's some states that backed off and washed down the power of the executive branch. I don't care if it's Murphy. I don't care who's in there. Christie. What I'm saying is, if you want to do something in the future, so something like this doesn't happen again, don't let the governor have all that power. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Well, I'm saying spread it out, because the executive in a state of emergency takes complete control of the state. Yeah. The legislatures and the judicial were kind of left out in the cold. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, whether or not why they didn't do things and were the nursing homes prepared. All of that happy horse shit. They didn't have enough money, and they're spending all this money. I thought it was $500 million. I have to go back. It said 500,000. I thought it was way more than that. But the point being is, we're still talking about this shit, 3 years later.
Well, because we remember when we're talking about these retirement places that your loved ones were dying in. There were also, we had reports of bodies being discovered outside these facilities, covered up with tarps. Right. I mean, and that was just like during the winter, and all the bodies were frozen together. I mean, that's nightmarish.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. How nightmare. I mean, that's something you would see in a horror movie or like some near future dystopic world. And we became that dystopic world.
Well, this is what happened. And you got to remember, you got to remember, Jeremy, it was a crazy time, you were there. I mean,
Yeah.
Do not let. Hang on a second. I got to write a note here. Cat out. So, but my thing I want to leave you with this. Here's my last thought on this. I don't know what was going on in the minds of Governor Murphy and the Governor Cuomo, whether or not there was politics involved in their decisions, or they were, this was medical advice that people, so Trump just said the other day he would only be a dictator for one day. Yeah, well, it's better. One day is better than, this is my buddy, it's better one day than 2 years. But the point is that what happens here is you might want to do something about having the executive branch not have so much power. There's an old saying, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So that's all. And I think we have to go look at that. And the nursing homes, they were. Everybody was unprepared for this. Nobody thought it was going to happen like this. We didn't have enough masks. I didn't have enough masks in my office. I had a. Thank God, one of my buddies had masks from he was working on his car, and he bought a whole bunch of masks. Because he was doing grinding of the paint.
Right.
and they were N95 masks.
So you're not
you know?
breathing in lead paint.
Yeah, yeah.
fumes and
You know, and a
stuff,
mask,
yeah.
unless you had an N95 and like really with a rebreather and a shield, you know, you were, it was useless. There was a lot of studies coming out of Asia with regard to getting, you know, this virus, because there was a SARS virus before this, and there was like they did 3,000 workers. Only a few got the SARS virus if they had the really good mask and the shields. So anyway, that's that. So I just want to say, you know, they're coming out with these studies, and I forget about, you know, you could criticize him all you want. You could criticize nursing homes. You criticize everything. But what I if anything, I would ask, why don't you send those people up to those places up in New York? Other than that, going forward, I think the executive branch needs to be, if an emergency ever happens again, the executive branch. I'm not saying take the power away from the government. The government needs to have the ability to make decisions, no doubt about it.
So
but the more, the better. In other words, if you get the judicial and the legislative and the executive, they all should be involved in it, and they could fight between each other and come up with a good policy. Yeah. That's my point. What were you going to ask me?
Like Murphy, why is he even involved in a report about all of that?
Well, they're criticizing him. They're saying that he's the one who caused the problem.
Yeah, that's my point.
And he was the governor.
Yeah, but why is he? Why have they let him have anything to do with a report on the rights and wrongs of that time? I mean, shouldn't that be
independent count? Yeah,
independent.
Yes,
people
it should be. Yes,
and all
yes.
of that. You know,
yes.
I mean,
yes, there should. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
now it's just like we're going right back into the same old mistakes that put us where we didn't want to be to begin with. You know, they create these situations, and then what are you reading?
No, nothing. Again, it's just he wants to get in.
They create these situations, and then they create. Forget it.
Well, I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Wait, we got a.
I know. That's just Bobby. That's just a comment here. It says, mass things were pretty ridiculous, but Mike, it was first time we all experienced this. Nobody knew what was going on. That wouldn't happen again. He makes a good point. I mean, we learn from our lessons. I think the big point that I take away.
Social distancing.
Yeah, 6 foot, not 4. Not 4! Don't get near me!
I mean, they had footprints
in
Walgreens and Walmart.
Yeah. I had people walking in the woods with a mask on. But my point, but the biggest.
I just saw somebody in a convertible the other day wearing a mask.
Right. The biggest thing I wanted to take home with this is that you have to be careful with power, and especially when there's an emergency. The President of the United States declared a state of emergency. Trump did, and he had sweeping powers. Then Biden did. Biden kept going with the emergency. I mean, Lincoln did it back in the Civil War. You know, he suspended habeas corpus, where you got to be brought up in front of a judge. You know, it goes on and on. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You know, they locked people up. Japanese Americans, they put them in concentration camps.
Yes, they did.
That was definitely an abuse of power. But it was an emergency. We were at war.
Right.
So bang, we have war. You tell you what, you have war right now. We go to war with Russia, and we're in big war. A state of emergency.
What happens today if there's a World War III with China? What are we doing with all the Chinese citizens in America?
Hey, listen.
How do we know who's a sleeper cell and who's not?
But the point,
blah, blah, blah.
we don't know that. But
all that would be peeled open and investigated.
Well, you don't know that. But the President of the United States, you could have martial law. You could do all kinds of things. My point is that the more people that have the finger on the button or make the decision, the better off I feel. That's my point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I'd rather have, I don't want to have one person. President of the United States, either Biden or Trump or Governor Murphy or anybody making, one person. I know you have to have one person sometimes, but I think that, unless it's something that has to be done really quickly. There's a great book. It's a book. It's called Defender in Chief, and it's by John Yoo, Y-O-O. He's a professor at UC Berkeley, and he talks about the power of the president. And the reason why the founding fathers, they have it where you got to have power. The president has to have some executive power where they could make decisions real quick. Yeah. The Congress takes a long time. The Senate takes a long time. The judicial Supreme Court takes a long time. But you want to have, oh, he's busting you. We got to have, what do you call it? Some fast. So you're just making about China. We got a comment here that says, "Oh my God, there's not going to be a war with China." Hopefully not. And he makes a good point. I agree with Bobby on this one. China needs us economically, but you know what? If you look at history, there's been times where people do crazy things. I hope they don't. Well, the big thing with China is Taiwan. The real question is Taiwan.
If we did go to war with China, my point was, would it be over here on this land the same as it was in World War II with the Japanese?
Well, I don't know if it would be, but it could.
Citizens of
the
America.
point is, it could, because the president of the United States, in the wartime, they
took their rights away.
Right. In time of war, what I'm saying, the executive could have sweeping powers. And I told you about the book you read. Whether or not you agree on that, that's the point I'm making. And the state of New Jersey, on a little bit lower level, the pandemic, which was was basically a war, so to speak. There's power that could be abused. Anyway, let's change the subject. Got one more thing, and then we're going to pack it in. How long? Go up in what time are we? Go up top. Let me see. We get 36 minutes. We're not going to go too long today. I want to make another point here. So, from a medicine standpoint, Jeremy, the New Jersey legislation approved the Right to Die Act, and the Right to Die Act, it has to go in front of Murphy to sign. But basically, and this is the Courier. This was today or yesterday. So this has been percolating through the legislation in New Jersey, where basically,
she's crying over not being able to die.
No, I think she wanted it. So let me just hear after a vote on Monday, March 25th, 2019. This is an older thing here. Let me see. Let me see when this was. So go back. This was one day they pointed. So this was this was here. And support right call. So they do have it now. I'm sorry. This was older. I got confused. So get me out of this right now. So but I wanted to bring this up. The right to die, they do have it now. I'm sorry. But I wanted to bring that up. That was in time. We had where for many years you couldn't off somebody. And a lot of people wanted to have it in different states. But right now, in New Jersey, and there's several other states where you could have a doctor assist. I don't want to say suicide, but you could pay. Yeah. Well, I don't think the insurance covers it, and you could die. Now, that's interesting because in Germany, Nazi Germany, they had the Department of Euthanasia. So they actually had, this is way before the Jews, and they would knock you off if you were born all deformed or had a problem. They put you in the hospital and they would euthanize you. If you're old, they get rid of you. And over time, what happened in Nazi Germany is it wasn't that hard to then you knock off the gays if you didn't like them, or the blacks if you didn't like them, and then the Jews were just another entity. And if you look at those damn if you look at the concentration camps, that was all under a medical. You would had doctors who supervised a lot of that.
But not,
death.
I mean, but
no, it was doctors.
There was a lot. No, I mean, look at Schindler's List. There was a lot that had nothing to do with doctors. They were just pow. They were listen to me. The doctors weren't killing the people, but every time a train came up, the Nazi government, Jeremy, were very, very organized. The killing of people was an extension of the euthanasia. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They didn't just one day and say, we're just going to kill all the Jews. They did, but they had the mechanism already. They had the mechanism to kill people. It was called the Department of Euthanasia. They were bought into it. If you were old, they'll knock you off. If you were young, they'd knock you off. They had it. They had hospitals. You go research it. Okay, so what they did is they facilitated the killing of the Jews. Part of it, the army, the military, but you go to a concentration camp, the doctors will look at you. If you look old and feeble, you weren't, they check it, you're dead. So it was still the medical Mengele. Remember a guy doing all experiments on these people, right? Mengele, yeah. Right now, in Canada right now,
it's socialized medicine, right? The government pays for your care. They also now have, I think it's called MAD. The government will pay to knock you off. So give you an example. You got lung cancer. You're 75 years old. You might live a year or two with chemotherapy. They're going to say, listen, we're not going to cover it. If you want to pay for it on your own, you can, but it's going to cost you $100,000. Yeah. But we'll pay for the, knocking you off. All right? Now, they do that now, Jeremy. So think about that. You're lucky, like your dad in England, they're not pushing it. They pushed back on that. But in Canada, they want to have it now. They might have passed a law where if you're mentally ill, schizophrenia, you could be 20 to 30 years old, they'll knock you off. They do that in Europe. There's a lot of those Scandinavian countries, they're crazy with that stuff. But let me make a point in New Jersey now, or any state here. Dear old dad is sitting in a nursing home. He's sitting on about $6 million worth of, money in the bank. You're just waiting for him to croak. And then now, instead of waiting for him to die naturally, he's pretty old, he's pretty decrepit. If you could get, the doctors to sign off and knock him off. Right?
Yep.
I'm just saying. So I think that, I tell you, I've seen it where people, we should pull the plug. It's a very controversial scenario, but it has a huge potential to get abused. Think about if you're a doctor, we're going to open up the clinic. Dr. Kachmar, Dr. Jeremy's death clinic. We get paid $10,000 to knock you off. We get bricks, it's dangerous. And that's what happened and then, okay, so now it's the old people or somebody terminally ill. Well, then what about maybe somebody who's depressed? I'm just worried that you cascade down. Then then a young child who's autistic you can't handle.
Terminally ill people, but they have a living will that specifically dictates that they should not be.
Well, you get phenom. But say you agree, or But here's the thing: you could be coerced into it. They could say, "Listen, we're not going to pay for your chemo." Like in Canada, if you can't get access to care, I was reading one report. I don't know if it's true or not. Lady was denied care in Canada. They told her go off. We'll kill you. She went to the United States and got care. And it was 2 years living. Something like that. It could be abused. I'm just saying it has been abused in the past. I'm not saying it's going to be abused, but it has been abused. And the Nazi Germany abused the crap out of it. All right, now. What about if you have an autistic child? I was in the gym this morning. There was a kid, they brought him in, and the kid was jumping up on the trampoline, screaming, big kid. And I know parents, they have a hard time handling these kids. They're autistic, they're low performing, they're violent to a certain degree. What do you do with them? Yeah. It's tough. And again, I'm not advocating, but you could, let's just humanely kill them. There's something wrong with that, and I think you have to be very, very careful about that. That's my point. So we have it in New Jersey now. So it's cascading. In Canada, you could be mentally ill, whatever that is, and I don't know if they passed the law. It was. I think they were talking about it in January. So now you open the door in New Jersey, and again, and what? Here's the thing: if it's the law, you could do it. What happens if Blue Shield or Medicare, or somebody says, you know what, Jeremy, your dad, or your uncle, whatever, he's sick, he's got cancer, he's 80 years old. You know what? He wants therapy, but we're not going to pay for it. But we will pay for knocking him off. Or you pay cash. Now, is that right? Now, it wouldn't have happened. They would have had to pay for it. And I see this all the time. Now, there's a lot of people keep their old mom or dad alive, and it's brutal. So there's two questions here, two sides of the coin. But
if I pay for half, can they just put them in a coma?
It's a tough one. But I'm just saying is that it's something that we should all think about and take very lightly about it and go and pause, because I know there's a lot of people suffering who they should be. It's not a bad idea, but I don't like the idea that it could become convenient, or it could be economically viable.
Everything gets abused, buddy.
Well, that's the thing,
That's
But just remember, Nazi Germany had the euthanasia, and that thing, it cascaded all the way down. Back in the 30s, in the United States, we had a thing called eugenics, where you would take undesirables and castrate them or fertilize, give them, what do you call it, make them so they can't have babies, And they did a lot of that.
Well, they had the what do you call it, the Nuremberg trials and all that, and what was put into place was being ignored during COVID. A lot of the things, a lot of the stuff about COVID we've talked about on this show. A lot of the things that pertaining to our senior citizens and the treatment and the care that people were given during that. A lot of things were skipped that shouldn't have been. I mean, we do need an investigation.
Well, we had them.
We know. They're working on a report now. We do need a deeper investigation into all of this stuff. But to write a report to say that, we're looking into what was right and what was wrong, and you're the guy that did both, okay? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Jeremy,
what are we doing, Mike?
Yeah, well, I could give you one other thing here, which I think is, I want to give you one other thing here. This was another article here. I just want to give you one more article here if I can find it here. It just for our people out there from a medical standpoint. So this was an article not too long ago. Let me pull it up here if I could pull it up here. This is an interesting thing. This is going across the country right now. So one of the most prescribed drugs right now. I got to get rid of this here. I don't know, get these commercials out of here. I'm sorry. One of the most prescribed drugs right now.
That's right. It's that big one there. If you take it off the screen, it's going to minimize. So
I can't do it. Yeah.
Just don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I'll get back. So anyway, the new drugs now for weight reduction. Ozempic is one, but this one here, Medicare will cover. It's spelled WEGOVY. Wegovy to reduce heart disease, but it reduces weight reduction. I mean, it's one of these pills that you take.
Wait, it reduces weight reduction?
No, excuse me. It reduces weight. It's the same medicine.
But the beauty about this thing is it gets you fat.
No, it makes you no.
That's it.
No, it makes you skinny. That's the bottom line.
Does it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
I need to get a medication that does that for me. I'm tired of all these other people.
Ozempic, but it's you could get out of this. The thing, I'll make one other point. We'll close up. Ozempic is a big time drug right now. It's been given for diabetes. It lowers your blood sugar, but it also what it also does is reduce your weight. And we're going to do a show on it. What it does though is it slows down gastric emptying, so your food sits in your stomach a lot longer. And it causes a slowing down of what's called paresis. The stomach is, moves, and so you get a gastroparesis where the muscle slows down, right? And some people
is that what it's doing? Digesting slower.
Yeah, and it's pushing the food out slower into your intestines. And
so
what happens?
You're not hungry as
That's
often.
the idea.
Yeah.
But some people it shuts down.
Yeah.
And some people it where it causes a problem is from a surgical standpoint. So you're going to have, say you break your ankle, or we're going to have elective surgery. You're going to have your knee operated on, and we tell you, Jeremy, you're going to be operated on tomorrow. No food after 12 o'clock. We've all had that. That's how it goes. NPO, it's called NPO after 12, and then we'll do the surgery. Most of the surgery now, a lot of it is either we give you some sedation, so you're in twilight, or we do what's called an LMA. It's not a tube all the way down your throat, but it's a tube that goes into your a little bit into your esophagus. Yeah, not even esophagus, into your throat. And but what happens is, if you have food in your stomach, and you use either sedation or that LMA, you could throw up, and that food could go into your lung. Okay. But most people, if you don't eat after 12 o'clock, there won't be anything in your stomach. It clears it in that time frame, 8 hours. And we've been doing that for years, and 8 hours is good. But now we're finding out people on this medicine, they're not clearing the food. So what we need to do now, if you're on that medication, we got to put a tube all the way down your throat. It's called intubation. and I'm not an anesthesiologist, but usually when you do that, you got to paralyze the patient. It becomes more complicated, more risk. Yeah. And so these medications are not without, I don't want to say side effects. It's a good medicine, but you got to be aware of that. So if you're on these medications, you got to let your doctor know. So especially the anesthesiologist, so they'll put the tube all the way down, so you don't have a problem. The other thing is some people can't handle it. I have some patients, they've tried the Ozempic and those medications, and they wind up failing on it, and they go for the gastric bypass, which is a lot of people getting the gastric sleeve, the gastric sleeve, which seems to be very effective. I don't know what how dangerous it is, but a lot of people are doing the gastric sleeve, and but so again, I to me, I think the best way is like Bobby's saying here is fasting. I think that you reduce.
Switch the cameras.
What do you mean?
Just switch the cameras over. Dude, I have not fasted. I don't even know what this word you're talking about is.
Yeah. You're the opposite of fasting.
What is this word you say, fasting? It's like a bad science fiction movie, and an alien just came. What is this
Jeremy
thing you call love?
Fasting. Jeremy, you're terrible. So anyway, it's funny. I had a patient in the talking to me, and he wants to lose some weight and everything. And I told him, I said, listen, you got to cut your caloric intake. You got to exercise, and I'm talking about what you got to eat and everything. He's like, no, I'm not going to stop eating. And I said, well, you're not going to lose the weight. So a lot of people want to lose the weight, but they don't want to do it. So Jeremy, listen, I think we've had enough for today. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fed up with it.
Yeah, so it was a good show.
Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna be back next week. We got a lot of things planned. Jeremy has it up here. So it's JerseyShoreFootAndLegCenter.com. That's my webpage, JerseyShoreFootAndLegCenter.com. It's got a lot of information about foot and ankle injuries and trauma and treatments. If you want to send us an email, go to drkachmar@icloud.com. That's drkachmar@icloud.com. Please share on YouTube and Rumble and all the other platforms. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby, our buddy. Bobby Boyce, we're going to have him in here. He's going to do a show for us. He wants to talk about all kinds of stuff.
I know this is asking a lot, but I have heard that if you write a review on Apple about our podcast, it goes a lot away.
Oh, really?
Of boosting our...
Oh, good. Okay. Well, maybe Bobby.
So if you guys can do that for us, that'd be swell.
Good. All right, everyone. Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend coming up, or week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.